Hello, I'm Skid, and today I'm going to be showing you how I do the Neuron run and give you my advice on the safest way to get around it. So, here I am in Five Pebbles. I have already collected the 2 neurons I'm going to be taking with me. Now, if you want to do this safely, only take 1. But of course, that means you're potentially going to have to do this twice or 2 times more than you need to. From what I've found and read, you only really need to bring 4 of them back to Moon. So, taking 2 means you only need to do 2 trips, taking 1 means you need to do 4. I think I brought her 8 or 10 before I found out that she only really needs 4. But yeah, getting out of Five Pebbles is not going to be the issue here. The issue is going to be everything after it. So, the advantage of only taking 1 is, of course, you then have 1 hand free, which means you can hold a weapon or a rock or something to help you defend yourself. Without that, you are 100% reliant on your ability to evade, or to get the enemy AI, or the creature's AIs, to behave the way that you want them to get them out of the way. So obviously, the first thing we've got to do is we've got to pass the underhang. So before we do that, we're going to reset the clock, reset the cycle, and begin from there. You'll notice I have the minimum amount of food, and that's because I'm not worried about food in this journey. I know I'm going to get plenty on the underhang. So the first thing you're going to need to take in as consideration is how long the cycle you get is. I've got a good long cycle, so I should be able to make it through the underhang even if I get delayed. If you get a short cycle, you may want to stop part way. And I'll remind you where that little hiding hole or that little hibernation chamber is when we get to it. But bear that in mind. So, we're going to come along here. So, the underhang is probably going to be one of the hardest sections to get through. I don't know if it is the hardest section. It's certainly going to be the most annoying, potentially. Because if the daddy longlegs sits in the way, there's literally nothing you can do. There are other ways to get through this. You can head left, but I don't know that path. This is the only path I know how to go through. So, on the underhang, you're mostly going to be worrying about the salamanders, those are the yellow and orange dragons, and the daddy longlegs. You may also encounter, as I said last time, the invisible dragons. So, what you want to do is you want to eat these here, get your food back up. But be aware that, as I said before, I have seen an invisible dragon on this path here once. It may be here, so just keep an eye out for him. Or at least be mindful that if he is here, then you're going to have pretty quick reactions to get out of his way. Because yeah, you've got nothing in your hand that you can placate him with. So, I'm putting the neurons down when I'm going to feed. The reason I'm doing this is so that I don't accidentally eat the neurons. Come on. Ah, missed it. There we go. And I would advise you do the same. Even if you're only going to be picking up 1 food item, put both neurons down. Because you may end up accidentally eating one of them. And we head right. So, we want to be crouching down here and a long jump. You will grab onto the pole to your immediate left. And I fucked that up. One thing to remember, do not press up until you have released the jump key. But fortunately, it's safe to do that. So yeah, on the right hand side here, you can slide down that wall if you don't have a long day and rest down there. But since we do have a long cycle, we're not going to worry about it, we're going to press on. Just come up to this one, up this a bit, and then jump off. And you want to be in the 3rd tunnel here. And you want to be paying attention to the tunnel on the right there. If it starts flashing orange, you need to be backing up quick like. then likewise here, you need to be aware of the dragons. So he's coming this way. He will likely not come up this way, but because we don't want to run the risk of being in his way, yeah, I think he's gone past, so that's fine. Okay. And again, just be mindful of both the tunnels underneath the left and right here in case another dragon comes through. But it looks like we're clear for now. And there's no dragons on this side. If you encounter any dragons, your best bet is to sneak through the tunnels. Now when sliding down here, don't press any other buttons once you've fallen down the bottom, because on one occasion I've rolled clean off the bottom of this. Because I think I was pressing left or right at the same time. So yep, you want to be up in this tunnel and then back along here. And then just keep going. Now I'm paying attention because the daddy longleg is somewhere nearby, but I think it's safe. Okay, so same as when we came down on the opposite side of this, you want to be holding the right hand button. It's very slowly popping yourself out, and the second you start sliding out the end, hold and press the up button. Then hop along to the last one here, and the daddy longleg's there, so we immediately retreat. Let's see if we can get him to keep coming. There's now a dragon in the way, but the dragon looks like it's trying to run. Yeah, the dragon's left. This is the most dangerous place to be in. The dragon is probably trying to track me now. I may be stuck between a rock and a hard place. We'll have to see. Okay. Okay, so I've sneaked up to the top there, and yeah, the daddy longlegs heard the dragon and is coming after the dragon. We're going to try and use that to our advantage. I'm just paying attention to the pipes. Okay, it's running away. So yeah, this is going to be the primary issue, this right here. Navigating past this here. Is he coming past? His feeder's still going up there. Okay, he's clear. So again, hold the right hand button, very carefully come down, and then hold up, and I've missed. I think I missed because I was in the pipe backwards. Not much you can do about that if that happens. Just restart, try again. I've got another long day, so this is good. Try and get by that quickly. I didn't accidentally drop one. No, that's fine. So remember, or one thing to remember, if you had a karma flower, which are those little star-like flowers with 3 prongs on it, if you had one of them when you died, then you will find it again at the last stable position before you died. So in my case there, it is going to be on one of those platforms. So the platforms that were underneath the poles, or at the bottom of the poles, or midway up the poles. That was the last time I had stable footing and wasn't in a pipe. So my karma flower is going to be lying there. If you can get it, it's always worth retrieving. But if not, don't worry about it, because there's at least 2 on the path back to Moon. So again, I'm re-scanning this area, trying to make sure that I can't see any invisible dragons. Oops. Let's get this jump right this time. So you press down, creep to the edge, hold the jump button, hold the right button, release jump, press up. Even if you miss the first pole there, you will almost certainly grab hold of the second pole, so you don't need to worry too much about that. Doesn't look like there's any dragons here. Kick off the wall. Drop down. That probably means that there's still a dragon in this area. There is. Okay. We're going to wait to see what he does. Looks like he's going down that pipe. That's fine. We're going to try and... We can either try and bait him back over here, or we can just let him go and then follow after him quietly. He's popping downstairs. He's probably going to go in the tunnel over to the right there that he's then going to use to head all the way over to the far right. Because he doesn't have a direct means to travel across this bit. So the AI has its own way of getting about. So I'm going to drop my neurons here so that I can try and grab my flower. And let's eat this again. Now there's a practical upshot of the fact that the dragon went over to the right. The daddy longleg may be now interested in him. Let's make sure we get 1, 2. So yeah, the safer way out of here is actually on the left, rather than on the right. Okay. So this is risky but doable. And he's leaving now anyway. So it's hard to see or judge this properly, but you need to be crouching down, roughly in the same position I am in the minute. Press and hold your jump key, hold the right button. Now pay attention to the slug cat. Wait until he looks upwards before releasing. Sometimes you'll still miss. That's the only bit that there's not an easy way past. You have to make that jump. Sometimes I make it cleanly absolutely fine. Sometimes I run short like that and you just fall off. I'm not sure why that is. I reckon it's just because of the procedural physics of how the rendering works for the characters. But it sometimes just isn't consistent. You can try and make that jump easier if you want to by trying to jam a spear in the other side, which is doable, but I've had the spear bounce out as many times as I've had it stuck in. And likewise, I've cleared that jump as many times as I failed it. So we have a short day today, a short cycle. Because of that, I'm not going to make this, or I'm not going to make the attempt to do the whole thing. You can make the whole thing, but given how short the cycle is, you're basically holding out on luck that everything is in the right place when you need it to be. This does, however, mean that I'm probably about to lose that karma flower. Because I can't remember if the karma flower stays there after you've slept again. Hibernated again. We're still going to want to fill up our hunger bar to max. Oops, wrong button. But there's more food that we can grab literally in the next tunnel, so we don't need to worry too much about it. But yeah. So yeah, this is where the other hibernation chamber is. You're slightly closer here to your exit than you are from up above, so... You can see I've lost half the day, or almost half the cycle, just getting here. So yeah, on short cycles, you can make it. I have done it. I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, we have a very long cycle. That's long enough to make it all the way to the bottom of the leg, but we've first got to make it under the underhang, which is far trickier than getting down the leg. The leg is a relative cakewalk, so long as you remember what you encountered on your way there upward. So again, we want to be sneaking to the edge, holding down your jump button, left button, release, hold up, grab a hold of that. Don't climb too far up on this before you jump off, otherwise you'll hit your head in the top when you try to jump over and you'll miss the pole. Also, try to avoid assuming that the pipes in the background are actually real pipes, because you can't grab hold of them. So, depending on how safe you want to play acquiring food, you can acquire food in the area immediately after this. Oh, shite. Which is now no longer safe. So yeah, that's the way you're trying to get past the dragons. You're trying to trick them into tunnels. Hopefully he's not about to climb straight back up, because that would be really, really bad. He's not, okay. Okay, he's already gone down that pipe. He has neither seen nor heard me. No, now he's heard me. Okay, that's fine. Because again, we're just going to pass him in the tunnel. Hey there, come on. Okay, now we've got to run. They might start fighting each other, but I should be able to get in here before they'll see me. So yeah. You're literally going to be using the tunnels to dodge. That's your only option. You can, of course, run and try and jump over them and outrun them, which, of course, is a perfectly viable tactic. But hiding in the tunnels is a little bit easier. So yeah, my karma flower has actually disappeared. So let's try this again. I am facing the wrong way. Crouch down, try and get to the edge. Hold down the jump button. Let's see if we can make it this time. There we go. So I've not seen the daddy longleg, which means it's over to the right. Or over to the left there. There's a pipe up at the top and there's a pipe up at the bottom. Both of them are valid ways to get there. You want to pay attention to where he is, where he's climbing, and then you're just trying to outrun him at this point. By the sounds of it, he got the daddy longleg. So now that we're past him, we're past the hardest bit. Okay, so you may encounter dragons on here. I have once found a dragon or cloaking dragon in the pipe below me. Doesn't look like there's one there at the minute. And you will sometimes also find them on this map. If you find them in this map and they can see you up here, let them see you. Because what they will do is they will climb up the poles, head right to get into the tunnel on the right-hand side that's just off screen, to try and get to here, in which case the second they're roughly off screen, you can just drop off here. And likewise, if they see you and you don't want to have to deal with them, you can lure them over or back over here, very quickly find a stone and then just knock them off and they're gone. You may also encounter a dragon somewhere along this path here, including a cloaking one. If you encounter a cloaking one, then you're going to have to try and find a way past him. You can either try and kill him or try and lure him away to get on the opposite side of him, but yeah. So, on the opposite side of here, there's going to be a daddy longlegger. Now, I would advise you, and I'm going to take this advice even though I have a long day just to show you, you want to be going straight the way past and getting back into the shelter up there, even if you have a lot of time. So, this is coming my way, but that's fine because we can sneak down here and come underneath him. Now, if I was going down the leg, I would have immediately gone down that hole down there, but since we're not, we should come over here and make our way back to that shelter. I can't hear him sliming, so I think I'm safe to climb straight up rather than through the tunnels. Yeah. He is slowly making his way back over. I should be able to beat him. Yeah. I'll be gone before he gets here. He probably doesn't even know I'm here yet anyway. And at this point, your most dangerous enemy is going to be the cloaking dragons. So I'm going to eat up now. So I'm going to drop these up here. Because there's always the off chance that these will respawn, but I already know that there's more along the way towards the leg. Don't forget to pick your neurons back up. And hibernate. Okay, so now we start making our way down the leg. We're going to try and make it halfway down the leg, which is relatively simple. The main thing we've got to worry about is the daddy long leg that's on the only daddy long leg actually on the leg itself, on the outside of the leg itself. The one on the inside of the leg isn't too hard to get past. The one on the outside is easy to get past, you just need, again, patience and care. Because you don't know exactly where he is. One thing that is fairly common is that you will find a cloaking dragon over on the left-hand side there. Now, I'm going to need to be careful about putting these down. Okay, that's fine. When you're going to drop your neurons, just be very careful about where you do that, just in case you lose them to the void. 2, pick them back up. Hop over here. Nicely timed. Okay, so we can actually get past this guy easy now because he's in a really good place for us. What you're ordinarily going to want to do is very slowly make your way down these pipes to find out where he is. And then when you're at a section like this, wait until he is one side and then go around the other side. And then you can literally just drop the rest of the way down. Now, one more thing to warn on you about. Around about half the time that I've come down here, there has been a dragon waiting in this little cave down here. At which point, if you encounter him here, you are literally out of options. He's probably going to grab you, you can't jump and escape, you're probably dead. So be mindful that he can be here. And if he is, then you need to make enough noise above him to lure him out. And likewise, in here, it's a similar affair with the slime. We need to be slowly making our way down. Here he comes, so we can actually just jump down here. We're going to hide in here because we didn't quite make it quick enough. But yeah, you want to identify where he is, and you're using the tunnels on the left-hand side to evade him. And then once you're past him, just rush past, keep going. Now, we want to be going in here because we're going to, 1, take this shortcut. Yeah. And 2, we're going to be resting in here, but there's also the fact there's a karma flower in here. Now I'm going to put these down because, again, there's usually a dragon somewhere around about here. And I can't see him cloaking, so I don't know if he's here, but we're going to eat the karma flower now. We'll grab that now. One more. Okay, it doesn't look like he's here. And we're going to drop this into here. I'm fairly sure... Oh, damn you. Let go of me. Gotcha. Well, that works. So yeah, if you've got a spear, you can spear onto where he's just stuck onto to get that one up there, but because he grabbed a hold of me, I could use him instead. Now, when you are doing this, storing food up for the next cycle, just be mindful which food you pick up when you're at the start of the next cycle. And again, if you pick up the neuron, put the neuron down before you eat your food. Because worst case scenario, you will accidentally eat the neuron as well. So let's grab that, grab that. I have got both my little blue bulbs. We shall consume them and grab the neurons again. Now, the quickest way to get down the next section is to the right. So, we've got to get past him. Fortunately, we should, if we're lucky, be able to just outrun him. Whee! So there is more food in this area if we want to get it, but we don't need it, so we're not going to bother. Particularly considering that he's now up there. What we will do, though, is we'll try and get those two up there, because that'll make us full. So, 1, 2, missed it. Get these eaten. And head back on outside. Again, we are watching out for the cloaking dragons. They are the only things that are now in this area. For the most part, you can rush past them. Just be mindful that they exist. And also remember, you probably know this from when you came up there, the pipe on the very right-hand side below me is not an actual pipe. It's a pipe mimic. I forget what they're normally called. Okay, so We want to be hopping over to the right hand side of this, because it is not safe on the left hand side. We are full, but I would not risk doing the next section without a full cycle. But since we have time, oops, get that back. Since we have time, we're going to use it to collect the food for the next cycle, so that we don't need to worry about it at the start of the next cycle. Working on the assumption that the dragon isn't down here, which he isn't. So we're just going to throw these in here. Can I grab that pearl? I'm actually just going to swallow this pearl. That pearl isn't in there normally, I've left it in there. And if you didn't know, if you press and hold down the eat button, and you're holding a small object that isn't edible, you will store it in your stomach. So at this point what we're doing is preparing for the next part of this journey. Now the next part of this journey is... it's not something that I can give you any immediate advice over. It's largely going to be down to your reactions and your ability to remember where everything is, where the hiding tunnels are. I missed it. Because there's not really much you can do to defend against the things that are there. Just, my main advice would be for the next section, make sure you don't have some background music on or something that's going to distract you. You need to be able to hear those things come in. Hopefully it will give us a long cycle, because we may need to take evasive action and hide for a while. The AI, the next things, I actually don't know their names. What they're referred to as, I'd have to look it up. Excuse me. But yeah, you can't kill them. The only thing you can really do is distract them or blind them, neither of which you can do while you're holding a pair of neurons in your hand. So, for safety's sake, climb as far up as you can before making your way down. And let's head back to the memory crypt. So this thing is very time problematic. If you have a short day or a short cycle, it's within the realms of possibility that you will not be able to make it in time, assuming that you have to hide for any length of time. And there's the guide. So, this bit isn't really necessary to go down here. You can just jump off the upper end. I'm coming down here just so that I can sneak out here. That's the noise you're listening for. But yeah, this is literally just, it's reactions. You need to be able to hear them coming, and then just run and jump. And if it sounds like they're coming your way, hide. Okay, he's gone. So the reason you need to have a good memory of this is you need to remember where all of the hiding holes are. You can hide on the top of some of these pillars and they will eventually get bored and leave, but sometimes that's not going to be an option. And some of these pillars just aren't long enough and they will get you anyway. So this is a case of know where your nearest exits are. So for example, this pole here is long enough to hide from them. That tunnel there is not short enough to hide from them. That tunnel there is a perfectly valid place to hide. This pole here is a perfectly valid place to hide. They will see you, but they'll get bored if they can't get you. So the minute I'm getting lucky, but as I said, your ears are your best friend in this section. Pay attention to what you can hear. The second you hear anything that sounds like them coming, hide. I'm coming down here because I can't get up there. But I also have a lot of time to spare, so crawling through a pipe isn't actually going to be too much of an issue for me. Now I'm over halfway back. And yeah, I'm getting very lucky. See, they know I'm here, but they can't get at me, so they give up and go. They will only press the matter if they think they can get you. You will occasionally get them glitching out in locations, and they just like get stuck on the edge and won't move. There's probably nothing you can do about that if they glitch out like that. You're just going to have to either run for it, hope they leave, or just die and start the next cycle. And I'm safe. So that was a lot easier for me than it potentially could have been. But yeah, as I said, you want to know where those holes in the ground are, you want to know where those poles are, and you want to be listening careful for them. The second you hear them coming, hide. Don't worry about anything else, just hide. Now, I have plenty of time left in this cycle. I can probably get past the next section, but I don't want to have to do both these sections at the same time. So yeah, no, let's just sleep in here with these. There's food up ahead that I can get. It's not going to be a problem. This next bit is also potentially tricky. I'm not entirely certain of the behavior of the these grasping plants that we've now got to get past. There are tricks you can do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop these down here. I'm going to pick up these 2 bits of food and I'm going to throw them off. Because I want the food. And I don't want to have to climb back up there to get them. Now, where did they land? Okay, they landed on this next bit here. Okay, so you want to try and be quiet. There's 2 ways you can get past these. You can try and attack them to get past them, and that will sometimes make them hide away. We have sufficient spikes here to give that a go. They'll crawl up in the ground like that. And if you're lucky, they will disappear underwater. If you're unlucky, they will then be looking in your direction, and that's going to cause you a problem. But because we have plenty of time, I will see if I can't get rid of him. So let's wait for him to come back up again. Okay, he's gone. We got lucky. If that doesn't work, then what you'll want to do, they're not the smartest and they can't, that one there is usually looking in the opposite direction. So if you slowly come up to where he is and then dive underwater and swim really fast, you can normally get past him before he can grab you. But if you can get rid of him or distract him, that works better. So here is another one of the karma flowers. Oh, there's actually 3 on this route. I forgot about this one. Now, there's one more of those things over to the right here. Now, because I know I've passed a spear, what we're going to do is throw it, pick up the 2 things, and then swim as quick as we can to try and get past him. He actually dived underwater. He saved me the trouble. But yeah, those are your 2 options. If you hit them, they'll be writhing in pain for a bit, which gives you enough time to swim past them normally. There. I want to drop these, but I don't want to drop them in the water or down that tunnel there. There we go. And there's usually a spear down here if you need one. But yeah, this one here is again looking in the opposite direction. For the sake of showing you, we'll see whether we can get past him. So what we're going to do is we're going to, rather than jumping into the water that's going to give him a loud splash and disturb the water to let him know that we're behind him, we're going to swim down here at the point at which the bats show up and start distracting it. So yeah, be mindful of that. The bats will distract it, which is not necessarily what you want them to do. Okay, so let's get underwater. So yeah, slowly approach it. This one's problematic because of that. And then just swim as fast as you can to get past him. So that's your other option. Okay. Now, we have enough time to get to the safe house well after this. So I'm just going to go. At least I think I have enough time. We'll find out. So your obvious hibernation room is up there, and there's some more food down there that we've just passed. There is one more danger in this area, which is in the room ahead. And that's the spiders. By this point, you should have your nice glow, so they're going to be afraid of you. But if enough of them collect together, they will still attack you and eat you. So what you want to do is try and make sure that they don't get into a big enough clump. But you need to be mindful of the size of their current clump so they don't turn around and attack you. Okay, yeah, that clump isn't big enough. If they get in a really big clump, you're going to need to draw them away from the tunnel up here and then get them down below to try and jump over the top of them. They will, generally speaking, only attack you if you are approaching them while you're lit up. Yeah, I don't need to worry about food. Now, when you get to this section here, there's usually a spear or 2 lying around. Pick one up, put it in your primary hand, come on over here and jam it into the wall. Because you can't get up without it. But as I said, there's normally at least 2 lying around here. It's not normally going to be an issue. Come up to the top of there, lean over and jump. And then climb up here. Now, you want to be falling down here. These guys are going to split. We don't need to worry about them. Come up to the top of here and jump over. Come up to the top of here and jump over. And then you want to bounce off the wall to grab that pole there. And up here. Now, a couple of occasions yeah, there's a dragon up here, but that dragon is blind. It cannot see. Which is fine. It can probably hear me, but at this point it's never going to catch me. So yeah, just be mindful that that thing is around here. That's a black dragon. So if you are going for the Dragon Hunter quest, and you're wondering, where's this last dragon? It's probably that one. Now you want to be careful here. Find the edge of the walkway, and then long jump this to be safe. And you can do the same thing here. Long jump it. This just climb over the top of here, land on there, jump over, and now you're pretty much safe to the next thing, the next hibernation chamber. And there's your final karma flower. So we are going to grab the food at the end of here. So if you are short on food when you get here, you can top up before going through the gate. I've never encountered anything hostile in this area here, so it's usually safe just to hang around, get what food you need. As tempting as it may be to collect this extra food and store it, there's really no need. There's plenty of food before the next hibernation chamber, you don't need to worry about it. And yeah, unless you're really running out of time, again, there's no reason not to go straight through here. Unless your karma's not high enough, which is why keeping those flowers is handy. So yeah, just bear in mind that this particular gate requires a higher karma level than minimum to get through it, which is probably why that there is a hibernation chamber on the left there. So I've still got a decent amount of time, but I don't have enough time to make the rest of the journey or to the next hibernation chamber, so we'll hibernate here. That's a judgment you can make. That particular section isn't particularly hard, so long as, again, you're mindful of those spiders. They're not normally an issue unless you aren't paying attention and you let them collect together. And yeah, just be careful when jumping over the bridge. Okay, this next section is not particularly tricky. The section after it can be a bit of a potluck. But it is highly unlikely you'll encounter anything that will straight up kill you in this next section that you can't very simply just avoid. So again, there's plenty of food here. I'm actually not going to collect it because I'm on a short day, and while I'm fairly sure I can make it to Moon in this time, I'm going to show you. I will grab that one there because it's easy to grab. So be careful dropping down here. But yeah, I could make it to Moon, or at least to looks to the Moon. But I'm not going to this time around. I'm going to show you where the hibernation chamber is that you want to be going to after this if you are short on time. Be careful when dropping down there because of what's on the bottom right. They'll never be able to reach all the way up to you, but they do exist. You might encounter a vulture here, but normally you're not going to be on this map long enough for it to matter, because you're coming along here, climb up here, jump through here, and then down here, and then straight in here. Okay, so notes on swimming. There's something I didn't know until very, very recently when I actually took a trip, or my first trip through the filtration system. So when you dive underwater, you can press the jump to get a burst of speed. But there is a problem in doing that. I missed. In that, it actually drains your stamina and your breath incredibly quickly. It's actually much safer just to swim normally, because you can swim for longer, significantly longer, if you don't press the jump button. So bear that in mind. If you've realised that you can get a burst of speed while you're swimming underwater, you really don't need to. You will actually go a longer distance if you don't press that button. If you just swim normally. But to be safe, you always want to be getting to every single air hole you can. Now, a vulture can come down from the top of here. Be careful of that thing. Again, this is another long jump that can kind of screw you over occasionally. Here he comes, but I made it through. So he's going to follow me to here, but I'm just going to get my breath, and then I'm going to swim, and I'm gone. He can't follow me down here. So yeah, be mindful of that vulture. He can be a royal pain in the ass, because if you drop into that pit of water, you can get out, but it's not consistent in how you can get out. So the vulture may get you before you can escape. So try and be careful with that jump. And then you want to be coming here and bouncing off the walls and come up here. So this is going to bring you up and underwater. Before I do this, there's going to be squids up here, or there's likely to be squids up here. Avoid at all costs bouncing in and out of the water, because that attracts the squids. Now the squids do not, contrary to what some people have said, take the food out of your hand. What they do is they hit you hard enough to make you drop what you're holding. And if you drop these neurons on the seabed, you're going to have a hard time finding them to get them back. So this is a case of you need to be steady rather than trying to rush. Try and avoid letting these guys pay you too much attention. So yeah, just take it steady. So now what we're going to do is to the moon, or looks to the moon, is obviously over to the right there, and it's a long trip. Now you can get vultures appearing on this map, in which case if you're in the middle of the ocean, you're probably screwed. The safe thing to do, so you don't have to make the trip again, or make half this trip again, is to come down here. And then drop down to the bottom of here. And I'm actually going to drop these here so I can grab one of them. Just to fill up my hunger bar, because I've got the time. Swim under and up. Oops, missed. Try again. Missed again. There we go. So yeah, if you're short on time and you don't want to take the risk of a vulture ruining your journey or the squids knocking these out of your hands and having to make, or basically having to reset back at the last hibernation chamber, in the event if that does happen, I would advise you go as far back as possible and then just drown yourself so that you can get your karma flower back. Yeah, we're going to come up in here. We're not going to mind the spear that has been spinning there like a madman since, I don't know, 50 cycles ago now. Don't mind that. And we're going to hibernate here. Now, we're going to grab the food that's to our right before we leave, just so that, again, we fill up first. I'm losing my chieftain achievement again. Okay, we've got another really, really short cycle, but we've pretty much halved the distance we have to travel. So it's not too much of an issue. What we'll do is we'll drop the neurons here. We're going to grab the spear because it makes getting these easier. Oops. I'm fairly sure that last one there... I don't know, maybe we can reach it. Let's see if we can get it. Nah. It is in range, but we're not going to worry about it because we are short on time this cycle. So we'll come along here and we're going to immediately start making our way up. Grab a pole. So now the only thing we have to worry about is that nice long trip. But the advantage of this now is that if we do die along that route and we have our karma flower, then the karma flower is pretty much always going to appear down here. So yeah, as tempting as it is to start jumping around like a madman here, don't worry about it. Because yeah, as I said, jumping in and out of the water attracts the squids, and if the squids like ram into you, you will drop the neurons you're holding and waste the trip. The last thing you need to worry about is the giant mecha fish, which so far doesn't look like it's nearby. If you encounter him, your best bet is to just wait for him to dive again. Try not to get too close to him, otherwise he will try to eat you, but yeah, just wait for him to dive again. And here we are. Getting out of here can be a pain. Hey, we made it first time. And from here it's or home going. Or here we are home free, I should say. How much food do we need? We still need 2 food, so what we'll do is we'll eat these 2 jellyfish here, since again we have the time. Drop the neurons up there. Grab that. Munch down on him. How much time do we have left in this cycle? That's going to be a risk. Come on, there we go. Should have left these on the platform below. Yeah, you want to be a little careful with them, because again, if you get stuck in their tentacles, they will sting you and make you drop what you're holding, and you'll have to try and find them on the bottom of the river, or the bottom of the, I hazard to call it a lake, the water. So we're going to see if we can make this before our time runs out. Like I said, the safe thing to do would be to hibernate there, because we don't have a massive amount of time. But because this path is not exactly the hardest thing to navigate, once you know which way you're going, and so long as you don't miss it, then we can make it to the next hibernation chamber without too much issue. And again, we can kick off walls to get a burst of speed. This is the bit that if I normally mess up, I will mess up here. We're good. So yeah, climbing up that can be a little bit tricky sometimes, but it's not like it's dangerous or it's going to kill you or it's dangerous. You'll eventually get used to the way that you're supposed to navigate it, so I'm not going to like walk you through it. I don't have the time anyway. And likewise, I don't have the time to actually give these to Moon, but we will go into the hibernation chamber that's right beside her. And yeah, for the sake of completeness, let's deliver our neurons to her. And we have a nice long day, so if we actually had stocked up pearls in here, we'd have plenty of time to come back and forth and get her to read them all. So let's go see Moon. Let's see if there's actually anything in this pearl. Probably not. Literally nothing. In which case, I shall take it back. Thank you very much. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Hopefully you found this helpful or instructional, and hopefully I will see you next time.